charged to be able to live in heaven. Otherwise, I think we'd faint if we just had a glimpse of heaven, because it's just awesome. Yeah.
Father, you said that confession is more of a symbol.
No.
The penance.
Oh, the penance.
The penance.
Penance that we did is more or less symbolic.
Okay.
Confession is real.
Okay, all right. I was just a woman and I'll just go to mass.
No, very heretical, and I would be in big trouble if I said something like that. No, it's the penance is more or less symbolic. I mean, it does. I mean, if a woman goes to confession, confesses an abortion, she might be given. One priest in Philadelphia used to give women to pray the rosary every day for 30 days. Okay. Well, if that woman, now see, some women will come to confession and say, Father, I did my penance, but I don't feel forgiven. And I say to them, well, it's not that you're not forgiven, it's that you haven't made it up. You are definitely forgiven, okay? But to make it up, you're still going to have to pray a lot, give alms, and pray and go to Mass as much as you can during the week, in addition to Sunday. Giving alms is a powerful thing. By the story, we can tell that by the story of St. Teresa, the brother of the Bishop of Avila. I mean, that guy was headed for hell. Our Lord said he was in danger of losing his soul. But because he was so generous in giving you that house, he's given his privilege. So he suffered for a time in purgatory.
If you do something that when you receive a full indulgence,
Yeah, you want to talk about indulgences? Sure.
But I was just like wondering, like at St. Stephen's at our local parish.
Yes.
After every Mass at 12:10, we do a rosary in the
Right.
church.
Right.
And I heard that's a full indulgence.
Yep.
If you do that, so it's like, and it's pretty easy. I mean, it's like.
Well, okay, but there's some.
Right.
It's not, nothing is that easy.
Right.
Okay. You have to do the act, okay, which is what you're saying. Do the rosary in a place of public prayer. Other things would be like doing the stations, reading the scriptures for a half hour, praying before the Blessed Sacrament for a half hour. So it just shows that since the rosary only takes 15 minutes, that's pretty powerful, because the other things you have to do for a half hour. And then you have to say the prayers for the Pope, which I presume to say in Our Father, the Hail Mary, or whatever.
Glory be, yeah.
Glory be. You have to go to communion the same day, and you have to go to confession, where there's a short period of time before or after. It used to be suggested that that was 8 days. Now it's 20 days, okay? That changed in the year 2000. And they wrote to Rome and said, is that just for the holy year, or is that forever? And they wrote back and said, no, that's forever. 20 days before or after. So if you want to get a plenary indulgence every day, you need to go to confession at least every 40 days, okay? Like maybe every month, okay? So, and the hardest condition, this is a clinker, okay, is that you have to be detached from all sin, including venial sin, okay? Let me give you an example, actually an example in my own life. Let's say you have the habit, when you see the light turning yellow, you speed up, okay? Now, you're not really supposed to speed up when you turn up. You're supposed to leave your foot off the gas, and if you can't stop, you just go through, and if you can't stop, you stop. And I remember I was driving with some kids at a conference I was giving up in Massachusetts, and we were going somewhere, driving somewhere to pray outside in the mortuary, and I sped up for the yellow light, and then after I got through, I said, I really got to work on that and try to do better on that. And one of the girls said, well, you can't get a plenary indulgence, Father. And I said, well, actually I can, because I'm willing to work on it. I'm not attached, okay? If I were to say, you know, whatever, you know, I'm not ready to work on that. Some people say, you know, I have so many mortal sins, I don't have the effort to work on my venial sins. Okay, but, you know, hopefully not in this group. But, you know, so anything you're aware of that's sinful, and, you know, things like something you know, you don't even think about. Like, well, I was in a tennis club, and we would go a half hour early, so we would only pay for an hour. And it occurred to me, well, this is stealing, you know, this is not just. So I went to the tennis director and I said, how do you guys look at this? We come early, a half hour early, and we don't pay for that half hour. You look at it as, well, you know, everybody does it, we don't really care, or you think, or you look at it and these guys really should be paying. And he said, yeah, number two, option two. And I said, okay, well, I think I owe you guys about $300 or $400. And he said, well, don't worry about that. He said, but don't do it again. From now on, if you're going to play an hour and a half, then reserve for an hour and a half.
Confession, even if you don't have, do you have to do the confession even if you're not, don't have any mortal sins to confess? Is it
Oh,
only...
yeah, you should go to confession at least every month.
All right.
No matter whether you have mortal sins or not.
But for the full indulgence, yeah, that's still...
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I go to confession, try to go pretty much every week. I probably go 40 or 45 times a year because I get a lot of grace from the sacrament. It's a great thing to do. Pope John Paul II said, you know, you really should go to confession if you just have venial sins. Yes?
One thing I read I thought was interesting, and I don't know if you agree with it or not, that even though the souls in purgatory, they're experiencing a suffering that's far greater than anything on earth.
Right.
I think I read once, and I can't remember like if it was a saint reading, that if you asked a soul in purgatory, would you prefer to go back to earth, they'd say no, I'd rather be here than be in the...
Money in hand.
Okay, so
Money in hand.
they're not living by faith, they know the full reality.
They're guaranteed.
And
we don't have any guarantees here.
so I think that's actually a relief, that even if it's painful there, they don't want to be here.
Right, right, because here we have freedom. And as St. Teresa, little flower, said, freedom can be a dangerous thing. It's good if we exercise freedom properly, but the problem is we have the option not to. So, yeah, that makes sense. And by the way, you know, I try to offer a plenary indulgence for the souls in purgatory every day. And it's not necessarily plenary when I do that, and I don't name anybody. I just ask the Blessed Mother to choose somebody because she's got a pretty good eye for things like that. And but I have asked her to please make sure that my last plenary indulgence will be for myself. But it's good. I mean, if you offer it for the souls in purgatory, that means a lot of them are getting out because of you. And so when you get to heaven, you might meet a whole bunch of people that would really want to give you a big, long hug because you are the one that got them out of purgatory early. And so it's a beautiful thing to do. And even if you don't meet the condition of being detached from all sin, again, that's not being free from all sin. That means not being attached, not clinging to any sin. Even if you don't meet that condition, you still get a powerful indulgence. It's still pretty powerful. And by the way, the Mass, it actually says in the thing on indulgences that the Mass is so powerful that it's not associated with an indulgence because it's of surpassing power. Okay, so offering the Mass for someone is very, very powerful. Because also when a priest dies, every priest is supposed to say 3 Masses for him. So priests take care of each other. I mean, that's a lot of Masses. If we got 200 priests, and that's 600 Masses would be said for somebody when they die. That's powerful stuff.